that the question of generosity of space, flexibility, capacity of space, what space can give to the inhabitant in terms of freedom, of appropriation, is one of the main criteria.
We are not paid for our ability to place steel, concrete, glass. We are paid for our ability to invent some beautiful space, to invent the void and the space that it will be contained by these elements. We have to produce floors largest as possible, no walls. So we can say that our work is to avoid walls. And then we consider that to look outside is a better thing that can happen to somebody in where it lives. We have worked for a long time on this question of economy, because for us it was clear that it was one important challenge for architects and for architecture today. And then we have visited the outskirts of the cities, where we have seen these supermarkets, where we have seen this hangar, we have seen industrial buildings, etc., where the question was just to produce efficient, solid systems. We have also seen horticultural greenhouses, where the question of how to create a good climate for flowers was pushed in the most efficient way.
Building twice more square meters for the same cost, obviously it calls to look for different systems, different way of thinking and constructing. So it's why we could see, as Jean-Philippe explains, how these buildings, which are dealing with the low cost, which kind of systems they were using. And finally, we found that the system which were used, like this very big warehouse with just columns and very long concrete floor slabs, or the greenhouses, if you take out the skin, which is either commercial or for agriculture, they produced very interesting spaces, free plans, with very few restrictions and very few constraints.
In France, it is strange that this idea that you could demolish more than 100,000 flats, when in the same times you have more than 1 million families asking for a social flat.
It's why when we have studied many of these examples of buildings, we could see that they were not at the end of their life, and they had a great potential. Because they have been quite good made, they have a great potential of transformation for the inhabitants themselves, and without moving all the time the people, and for a cheaper cost than demolition and rebuilding.
So the question is that just from buildings that have been built in the 70s, you could transform them, you could change them in order to make them as beautiful as the one we are doing in Dubai. It's just a question also of sustainability. These things exist, they are solid enough, they are not okay like they are. There are probably too many people in each room or each bedroom, but it is not a problem of architects, it's a problem of social developments, it's a problem of employment, it's a problem, and from the existing systems we can keep it and just make transformation.
It means that bring these buildings in a very, very good quality and make additional works that were missing when they have been built, as balconies, as extensions, as better acoustic insulation, as new equipment, saving energy, and so on. In terms also of sustainability, of density, of limiting the territory of extension of the cities, it's also a very interesting way of thinking. The facade for us is something important in terms of transparency, daylight, possibility of opening to create natural ventilation. And the buildings we are doing, very often they have transparent glass from the floor to the ceiling. Daylight is for sure something very important. We use also very often the greenhouses as a second envelope in which we can rebuild something and so create different climates. The question of climate is also linked to the daylight and also to the question of comfort, the bioclimatic comfort.
What we should give, it is always this possibility to have the maximum of light. After that, you have the possibility to filter. It is never possible when you propose a facade that it is half in concrete and half in glass, because you cannot move the concrete. It is there definitively. So this question to use the system that Anne was talking about, frame, floors, columns, beams, floors, and transparency. It is for us most efficient. It can be done easily with modern systems of building, and it can propose maximum of freedom, maximum of space, maximum of air for families to live there, or for equipment, or for public space.